Hello, we are back at the ISDA AGM studio, and I'm joined by Harleen Bains, an ISDA board member and head of global market sales for Canada at RBC Capital Markets, and Sonali Das Theisen, global head of FICC trading and market strategic investments at Bank of America. Welcome to both of you. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Now, we've seen an awful lot of volatility over the course of 2026. What are you seeing from market participants and how are people adapting to the current environment? Sonali, perhaps I can start with you.
Sure. Thank you again for having us. Certainly living in a higher volatility, higher uncertainty world. And I think our clients are navigating that well. We're proud to support them in that. If I look at the market, we're up about 30% year over year in the first quarter in electronic volumes that go through in the major asset classes. So the markets are functioning and adapting well. And I think really have been focused around a couple of things: automation, scale, and balance sheet efficiency, and using a lot of tools to do those things. If you look at the interest rate swaps market, FX markets, those are now well over 50% electronic. You're seeing a lot more algorithmic trading there. You're also seeing a lot more packages trade in the market. So multi-asset swap packages, portfolio trading is coming to interest rates, et cetera. So taking out that execution risk in high volatility and getting both sides of the transaction done at once is something that the market has really been using and as a tool. And lastly, balance sheet efficiency and capital efficiency. And ISDA has done so much great work around this topic. It used to be a really sleepy topic in the sleepy corner of the market. And it's really come for a number of reasons, kind of full front and center for clients and for institutions. And I think those are like the key levers that people are really looking at to navigate this volatility.
Great. Harleen, what are you seeing?
I would say Sonali has really captured quite a lot of the highlights, but I would say that anyone who's been close to a trade floor right now, whether it be front office, legal, compliance, we've all sort of felt the same thing. 2026 has been busier, but it's also been structurally different. Thematically, the day-to-day on a desk is being shaped by macro uncertainty, and that's been forcing faster and more dynamic decision-making in a product lifecycle. And it's been a mix of pressure, but also opportunity. And certainly those who've been able to increasingly work faster to adapt, right? Whether it be structure or the use of technology or just even how teams are being shaped, have sort of really navigated 2026 well.
So we're at the ISDA AGM, April 28th to 30th. There's an awful lot of the year still to come. What do you see as the main risks and the main opportunities? Sonali, starting with you again.
It is phenomenal that we're not even halfway through the year. It's been such a busy year. I think that we're going to continue to see this focus around, our markets moving faster, decorrelation, how much is just the information cycle and market cycles moving quicker and quicker, causing, different market dislocations, et cetera. Getting large block sizes through the market. I think overall the market's been handling that very well. But, as you try to get larger risk transferred through the market, and then as always in these types of environments, capital balance sheet constraints come into play. I think the good news is we are seeing the markets function well. And I think looking ahead, there's also interesting tools that are helping us, right? I could point to AI. I could point to, advances over time using blockchain to incorporate how we get collateral moving faster around the globe, et cetera. So I think there's a lot for us to look forward to. I would say it's both a risk and an opportunity, how much the market is trying to tackle at once and digest. Again, we're living in very elevated volatility. We're trying to incorporate AI. We're trying to leverage blockchain across the cycle, pre-trade, execution, post-trade. So there's just a lot to do. And so we're all firing on all cylinders.
Great. Harleen, anything you want to add?
I might just build on some of the comments that Sonali had brought up around blockchain and just really how the market's been weathering it quite well, surprisingly, in the first part of 2026. But I think the advent of really just open ledgers for this faster movement of collateral will continue to keep the system moving well and keep this sort of more calm market persistence. What we don't want to see is sort of the funding pressures that we've seen in previous crises. We've been navigating that fairly well. And so I think that faster movement of collateral, that sort of almost same day settlement, those will all continue to keep that ecosystem moving fast and efficiently.
Fantastic. Thanks again for joining me and enjoy the rest of the AGM.
Thank you so much, Nick.
Thank you.